You might think that people like Naval Ravikant reject bad ideas, but they don't. They reject expensive people. You could have aced your introduction, presented an incredible idea, and he replied once or twice and sounded genuinely engaged. Then he becomes silent and completely withdraws. There's no conflict, no explanation. He's just gone, leaving you wondering what happened. In this instance, you didn't lose the argument, but you made an even bigger mistake, accidentally convincing him that interacting with you would become another obligation on his calendar. Naval Ravikant, along with those with his behavioral architecture, treat obligation like a threat. Let's classify the hardware first and reveal what strategy works better in gaining Naval's attention and respect. Naval Ravikant has a triangular frontal geometry, expansive upper third tapering sharply to a narrow lower jaw, deep-set, wide-set eyes with visible orbital compression, flat facial modeling with a tucked chin and thin neck. This is a cerebral processor whose motivational engine lives entirely in the upper third of the face. Abstract theory, conceptual pattern recognition, and the relentless extraction of first principles. He is not built for physical execution. He is built for leverage through ideas. The public reads Naval as calm, patient, and intellectually open. That read is the mask. The right side of his face projects warmth, wider, more dilated, conversationally expansive. The left reveals the core architecture, narrow, retracted, hooded, deeply suspicious. He can appear completely present while running continuous threat assessment on the cost of continuing the interaction. This precision filtering system gets triggered before most people realize it's even running. Cross-reference the face against the behavioral record, and you'll see that there's pretty much zero contradiction. The morphology is not a mask here, it is a blueprint. Naval has stated explicitly he avoids successful people because they are surrounded by sycophants. He refers to calendar commitments as a turd on my calendar. He operates entirely on spontaneous inspiration, abandoning subjects the moment he extracts the core 80-20 value and moving on without apology. When you understand that, his disappearances stop feeling personal. He didn't ghost you because the idea was wrong. He ghosted you because the interaction pattern signaled that you were about to become expensive. His entire operating system is calibrated to detect one thing. Does this person introduce more obligation than value? The moment the math tips, his exit protocol executes silently but permanently. Don't view it as rejection. View it as efficiency. Here is where almost every operator destroys themselves with this architecture. The standard professional playbook says, build rapport, establish recurring contact, increase relational investment over time, ask for 30 minutes, then a follow-up, then a standing call. With Naval, every single one of those moves registers as a liability accumulation event. The rapport-building opener, the "how are you doing, how's the family" warm-up, reads as a waste of his cognitive bandwidth. It's not going to be interpreted as rude, but it will be an expensive tax on his mental bandwidth, and he'll filter it immediately. The admiration play is worse, and by opening with praise, quoting his philosophy, naming his influence on your thinking, this does not build goodwill. It activates suspicion. His immediate internal question becomes, what does this person want from me? You've just categorized yourself as a potential extraction attempt before you've said anything of substance. And the classic sales-like follow-up request, the ask for 30 minutes, the proposal for a recurring call, is a huge failure. It confirms what he suspected from the start, that you are not one of his peers, but rather an expensive sink of his valuable time. If you want to understand the 4 foundational behavioral architectures that drive this kind of filtering, including the exact profile Naval operates from, there's a free brief available now. 4 archetypes. Immediate delivery to your inbox and no commitment required. Immediately applicable in high-stakes dynamics in sales, business, and personal interactions. The link is in the description. Now here's the first asymmetric play. First, the ghosted value drop. Send a single high-density insight, something directly relevant to his current intellectual orbit, with no request attached. Close it with a statement that explicitly severs expectation. No reply needed, just thought this mapped to something you've been tracking. In this instance, you have provided value while actively rejecting the reciprocal loop he fears. His defense system has nothing to engage. The interaction cost him 0, and that registers with him that you're not a threat. Second, never schedule, ever. Engage asynchronously, opting when possible for texting instead of calling or spontaneous over planned. Mirror his stated operating rhythm, and he will begin to categorize you as a low friction node in his network, someone whose presence does not require him to reorganize his mental architecture around your needs. Third, disagree with him, not performatively, but when it's congruent with what you already think. Find one point of intellectual friction where the data legitimately diverges from his stated position, and present the counter with zero emotional investment. Don't soften it, just offer your observation. This is the one of the only signals that reliably bypasses his sycophancy filter. He cannot categorize an independent thinker as a follower. The disagreement proves you are not seeking his approval, and that proof is the only thing that earns his sustained attention. The permanent posture underneath all of this is radical detachment. Engage with the idea rather than the interdynamics or relationship. The moment he senses you need something from him emotionally, the interaction becomes expensive, and as you've seen with Naval Ravikant, expensive interactions get terminated. I must warn you that running this framework on the wrong architecture produces the opposite result. What works with a Naval Ravikant activates suspicion in several other behavioral archetypes, and when you're in a high-stakes interaction, precision is not optional because the cost of a misread is their negative, permanent categorization of you. If there is someone in your professional or personal environment whose decisions determine outcomes you care about, and you're still operating on instinct, that gap is expensive. The Strata protocol extracts the exact behavioral fingerprint of your specific target: morphological structure, behavioral history, pressure responses. It all gets combined into a tactical dossier within 48 hours. Submit your target today and receive a personalized extraction on an individual of your choice. The link is in the description, strataintel.io. Don't navigate blind when the map exists.